Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to a special edition of the Texas Two-Step. We're going to recap a pretty great week. There was a little bit of havoc that was shared around. We're covering all things college football. We're finally into the mix of some really good games. We've got some other subject matters to talk about. For example, the Dolphins scoring 70 points on Broncos Nation. Let's ride. What the heck is going on in Denver? All of which we really just need to get down to the bottom line of how does this affect Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's relationship? Hi, Trav. And if everybody just saw Devon A-Chain go off for like 250 yards and four TDs in Miami yesterday as well.
Is it more interesting that they scored 70 in the modern NFL, or more interesting that he chose not to take a field goal to set the all-time record?
Yeah, considering what I think everybody would assume Mike McDaniel would have done before that scenario, I think we're all surprised because given the situation, I think, kind of his thing, people would be like, he's not Dion, but he's kind of got that little hip thing to him. He just, I saw like such a hilarious analogy the other day about him, but it was like, Mike McDaniel looks like the guy whose dad got sick and left him to run the company for a while. He's like,
I saw it too. I was wondering if you would say that.
You would have thought he's like, yeah, just kick it.
Or he looks like some kind of like math wizard that like can do like massive algorithms in his head, so he just knows like everything about.
He's got to be smart, right? I mean, like this isn't an accident.
I think for the most part, yeah, you have to be. Well, they talk about. What's his name? Sean McVay. I think Lincoln Riley is the same way. They've got photographic memories and can remember
really
specific down distances, yardages. What was the wind doing that day? Did they have a few players out like from games 15 years ago?
I hadn't heard that about him, but
yeah,
he's an anomaly because the personality, the looks, and then seriously the intelligence. But like the way he's kind of like that players coach. You see him like just goofing around, like trolling his own players. But it probably works in today's era. And
I think you have to, yeah.
Tua is playing excellent. And that's what's good. Dolphins are must-see TV right now.
Good for the Dolphins. It's an organization hard to root against, but they've been down for so long. So good for them.
Who doesn't like the Dolphins? Like, I don't think they ever pissed anybody off. They've never won anything, so how can they? But they do have the perfect season, I guess. Everybody liked Don Shula. Dan Marino is popular. Miami in general is a very liked city, I think. Not really rubbing anybody the wrong way. So yeah, I think a lot of people, unless you're maybe the Jets, can get on board with supporting the Dolphins.
Yeah. No, I got nothing. I got nothing bad to say.
Yeah,
pretty cool. To see him score 70 in the modern era.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that was abusive. I just didn't. I thought at the end. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Can we get your opinion?
Oh, no, no.
Why does it matter? I think what I like the most out of all of it is almost like if you're a celebrity and you're not unfortunate looking. Unless you're Pete Davidson, apparently, you can will yourself to date anybody you want.
He maybe have something else that's really special that we don't
know. No comment there because I can't figure that one out. But it's like Travis Kelce's like, all right, I would like to date Taylor Swift. Let me just go ahead and put that out to the universe. And it's like within a matter of weeks, you're dating Taylor Swift. It's like, there you go.
I have no comment because I am probably one of the 6 or 7 humans on earth that couldn't really give 2 craps about Taylor Swift and what's going on. It's a phenomenon.
I guess I'm one of those 6 or 7. I don't know. I'm not into the music. I just don't think she's that attractive either.
Same here. I don't get it.
Average. I mean, like if I just had seen her in the bar in college and been like, oh, okay, there's a girl. That's cool. Yeah. Hey, maybe start singing and be like, this girl really loves attention. But
7 or 8 into it, maybe.
How many drinks have I had? Anyway, I'm sure she has a nice personality.
I'm sure she's very lovely to be around.
And a lot of money.
Yeah.
But good for her. Good for her. But college football.
Man, what a week. I'm so sad I missed a good chunk of it.
Oh, were you? What, you were busy?
Yeah, it was a busy day. I had to go to work in the morning for a few hours, and Travis is at a game, so we went to that.
Yeah.
And then we had a wood forest party, neighborhood party that was 20s themed. So
Okay, fine.
yeah, so put a lot of catch up though.
Watched most of it. I mean, I was in front of the TV most of the day and trying to hop around and wrangle kids and all, but yeah, I my picks, you got them written down, but I think
you did well.
I think I did well. I know I missed BYU, Kansas, and I watched a little bit of the game. I got to say, wow, right out of the gate, Kansas is knocking fumbles and pick-sixing or picking them up for a scoop and score. It's like, this is not 3 years ago Kansas.
I've already punched my Kansas plus 17.5 for next week at Texas.
No kidding. Okay. Well, there you go.
They look strong. If he's not number one, he's at least number one, number two on any program shortlist for coaches.
Coach
next year,
coach of the year kind of thing.
Well, Lance Leopold. However you say it.
Yeah, but I am looking across. I think we both missed Washington State on Oregon State.
We did. We had that. I can't remember. So some of these I had spread. Some of these I had straight up.
Yeah.
But like we both had OU minus 14. Have that. Yep. Which that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, OU.
No kidding, right? I mean, you as a Texas fan, you got to be a little concerned because you just don't know who's going to show up. Because you played that
because they're just not that good.
It's that. But you've been there before. It's like you should win this game even if you're up by half, and all of a sudden it's like, what the heck just happened?
I saw a 2-3. I want to say Case McCoy led Texas team beat a top 10 Oklahoma team in that game. Sometime back, like that game. Anything's possible in that game.
Yep. When is that game?
2 weeks.
Okay,
so yep. First Saturday in October.
Exciting.
But yeah, no. Certainly on the big games, you had it pegged. You had Ohio State.
Close call. I mean, honestly, that was way closer than I thought. And I think there's a lot of examination that needs to be done. And I know Ryan Day wants to come out and talk about grit and stuff. And in my opinion, he's trying to get a little bit of the media attention about it's personal sort of thing. Like, did you see that post-game interview on the field? You came after Lou Holtz?
I know.
I'm sorry, but screaming at a 90-year-old man with a lisp that is a coaching legend that had been a legendary coach at Notre Dame is like your look. That's how I read it. I'm like, is he just trying to get like a little bit of the prime attention of like, it's personal. Like, I feel like everyone's doing that now.
Everyone's going to do that now because
we saw Oregon's coach do it. They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. But it's like, come on, Ryan Day. They only had 10 men on the field.
Ryan Day's better than that. Like, I get, was it Dan Lanning at Oregon? I understood that. Like, that's Oregon. Like, you're never really going to be a blue blood. You're still kind of climbing the ranks. Like, you're trying to – I get that. Ryan Day, like if you are a top 5 coach in the country, act like it. Mm-hmm. That was ridiculous.
You came from behind. You won a close game.
Congrats.
Your team traveled well. You're like 120 miles away. I mean, However, come from behind win. Congratulations. Shocking that Notre Dame has 10 men on the field for the last 2 plays.
Not only that, I mean, again, I didn't watch the game, so I still haven't seen the kind of final couple of minutes. But from my understanding, not only did you have 10 on the field, but they ran some terrible play calls.
Awful. When
they had a chance to ice the game. They threw like a screen on incomplete in second, and like you gave them an extra 40 seconds.
It's that, everyone coach has got their different way about it, and I'm drawing a blank on Notre Dame's coach's name.
Marcus Freeman.
Freeman, easily the biggest game he's been in. He wanted to be the guy behind Brian Kelly. I think Notre Dame did a great thing, ascending him. Got a little bit of hate last year. Now he's got legit quarterback, and just played conservative instead of put the gas pedal down.
Well, I guess
you're doing.
Ohio State blew up the first down play on that last series.
Yep.
Blew it up for a loss of yardage, and then you run a second play. It's a screen, and so now, yeah. I mean, like you're home, you've got the lead. Your defense has shut them out from what it sounded like the whole fourth quarter. Like you've got to make them run their timeouts. You got a quarterback who doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah,
you got to make them drive the field. You got to punt it,
and they did. And he had some pretty good plays. Like they even almost screwed it up at the end. But they got to that 1 yard line. You'd have to rewatch the play. But I'm drawing a blank on their QB's name now. But he threw a dart and got caught, maybe by Harrison, right at the 1 yard line. And Notre Dame stopped him. Like he should have just fallen into that. And if he had been a couple inches in, he would have fallen in or caught it in the end zone anyway. But yeah, then they line up 2 goal line formations, and Notre Dame back-to-back has 10 men on the field.
10 men on the field. Coming off a timeout too, I understand.
Yep.
That's gonna if they lose another game and missing the playoff, that's gonna really haunt them. And
I think the only tough game they're gonna see is USC.
I think they got to go at Clemson. They're going to Duke. They're going to Duke this week.
Very interesting. Duke put up another 40-something points.
Yeah.
Yes. So, this is on UConn, but
I think it's a great Ohio State victory to do it like that. I'm still not convinced they are one of the top 6 teams in the country, but great victory. That was a game I think Ryan Day had to have. Notre Dame's not that they didn't have to win this game. They can still beat USC, run the table, and people look past this loss.
You're right.
But Ohio State had to win this game. They did it. But again, I still think there's massive deficiencies with Ohio State.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. I think we'll see that exposed against a Michigan team that will most likely get better with Harbaugh back. I think we saw Penn State outperform, right? We were there thinking maybe this is going to be close, but certainly it was the whiteout, but they blanked them.
That's another one. That's another one. I think I had you down for Iowa, right?
I had Penn State picked on that.
Oh, you had Penn State on that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, easy.
Well, you covered.
I was saying, it's a whiteout game.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. You did get that game. I had it marked wrong because you had them covering.
Rarely, I think you'll ever see me pick Iowa.
Yeah, I did not. Penn State looks like the Big Ten run through Penn State this year, I think.
And that was the talk before the season, and that's what they were wanting. I think we led into that. It's is this the year? Will they be competitive? Are they going to drop, a random game against Michigan State kind of thing? Are they going to lose to Michigan? Or is James Franklin get it together?
Yeah, looks like the latter at this point. And again, Michigan doesn't look good. They look. Again, maybe they're just kind of Georgia sleepwalking through this.
Could be. Right. You're playing Rutgers. They haven't played anybody yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And Harbaugh's back.
I think to me, the most compelling game of the day, I think, was Florida State Clemson.
Excellent game.
Clemson again, to me, and I did get to watch some of this game.
Yeah.
Looked like for the most part they probably were the better team, but again, just you have a chance to kick the game-winning field goal with a minute change left, and it's a chip shot and you miss it.
Yeah.
Dabo has got to just be
now
beside himself in a way.
I would say yes, that's a lack of discipline or just, some not a championship caliber team making some mental errors. There were some controversial calls in this game that did all seem to go Clemson's way. Florida State was also shooting themselves in the foot, but then they would just do what they needed to do all the way down to, all right, great. missed a chip shot at home. Can't happen. They just sealed the deal. But that was something like when I look at that game, and we've got the AP rankings now.
Yep.
Florida State doesn't move. And
Florida State actually in the AP, Florida State dropped one, and in the coaches they dropped
to 5 on both.
Yep.
Okay.
Or 5 in the AP, 4 in the coaches.
It's like, and what was Clemson at that? 22, 25.
Clemson wasn't ranked.
They were not even ranked.
Clemson was 23 in the coaches.
Okay.
They weren't ranked in the AP.
It's like I don't know how you do if you're doing the coaching poll and you watch that and you're like, okay, that's the number 4 team or now the number 5 team, and then you look at the team and say, well, they just lost by a missed field goal, unranked. This is the issue I have with ranking. It almost is like I feel like they should get redone every single week from scratch. Because like what happens if you're like Michigan and you're without your head coach until a point? Or what if you are, I don't know, not like I've got a good example, but what if you were a team and how about Utah? Let's say they were floundering, and then all of a sudden Cam Rising comes back and they're just like dominant. What do you do about that? To say, oh, well, you lost games before you had your really good players or your coaches, and you can't just crawl back in. I think there should be a better evaluation of this team as you are right now. If you play the exact same way next week, this is how you're ranked.
Well, I mean, I think the rankings for the most part take care of themselves throughout the season. But the issue I have is when you have teams, for instance, looking at the AP right now, Florida is ranked 22. Tennessee is ranked 21.
There you go. Thank you.
Like that's the problem. I get you can't do that with every team. Like you can't have because this team beat this team, they gotta be higher or whatever. But it's when stuff like that comes down, it's like, come on, like why is that the way it is?
Yeah, it just seems too biased or inconsistent. I guess it's consistent, but it also feels inconsistent.
Yes,
because it's consistent where it's like, oh, okay, we're only going to move them a little bit, but at the same time, Florida beat Tennessee and not by a little bit.
No.
So why are they behind him?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean the rankings. Again, the rankings take care of themselves every year. No team that starts unranked and goes undefeated or one loss isn't going to get like they all take care of themselves. It's preseason. We talked about this, that preseason rankings are always a tough one. But kind of going back to the Clemson Florida State game, Clemson 429 total yards, 146 rushing yards, possession, 25 change, 34 and change. They had 1 turnover. Penalties were about the same. And yet Clemson just still finds a way to lose the game. It's just crazy. Like, I'm not really going to write off Dabo yet.
No.
But I mean, it's getting really close.
Yeah. I just if Clemson goes back to just good instead of great, that's just where they're at.
That's where they're at.
Colorado, Oregon.
Man,
I don't think Travis Hunter would have made up that kind of a difference. I think it's exactly as we suspected. That was a team of NFL players and a team of some talented players and some transfers. And I
heard a stat that said 80% of Vegas gambling, public money gambling, was on Colorado.
Just looking for those odds.
Man.
I mean, the line was 22. They've done it 3 times. Nobody picked them against TCU, and everyone who gambles is like, oh, but I get it. I can do it this time. That is betting with emotion instead of your brain.
That's why Vegas is Vegas. But that was just an old fashioned just ass kicking. There's just no other way around that.
And it would have happened again. we can look at the score 42-6, but it was 35-0 at halftime.
Oh, they could have put 80 on them. They could have hit 71 on the over under by themselves.
Yes.
I think at the end they knew.
Outmatched. The line of scrimmage was not even in contention.
Yeah.
It was bloody. Just we are twice as good as you.
Yeah.
And we're just having it will. And that is the honest truth.
Yeah.
I would say the most surprising score of the day was probably the low scoringness of Utah and UCLA.
Man, yeah.
14-7 in Salt Lake City. I think we even said that Utah's going to put up points and UCLA is going to put up points also. And then Utah will just come out ahead, not a 14-7 game.
Well, and one of the Utah scores was a pick six. So really
crazy.
It's a 7-7 game.
7-7 game. Yeah, not high offense.
Yes, you can go.
What?
You can go. No, not now. Now's not the time. You can tell them later. Sorry, I had a little interruption from the kiddos. Doing a little day recording this time for all you people listening instead of our traditional night. Very surprising. Flukish in a way. I don't know, because I just don't think that's one of those.
Nobody was expecting a defensive game there.
No.
So I actually didn't watch much of it. I was watching more of the Alabama Ole Miss game.
As was I. And let's get to that. That was, man. Was that Bama or was that Ole Miss? Or was it a little bit of both?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think I'll give more credit to Alabama. Yes, they were at home. The way I felt watching the game was, if this Alabama team is like a 7.5 and they were an 8, they could put another 2 scores on this team, but they just can't seem to tie it together. Milrose making mistakes, bad offensive line play, but the defense was playing well enough. Now, from the very beginning, I actually, when Ole Miss scored real quick, I was like, uh-oh, this could just be a shootout. And then I don't think anything necessarily happened to Ole Miss's offense. Alabama's defense just shut it down. They only got a field goal for the rest of the game. I mean, that was pretty darn impressive. But we also know that Ole Miss's defense is not incredible. So when Alabama's only scoring 24 at home on Ole Miss's defense, I think that's where I would say, great, the defense played well, but this offense just needs one playmaker, and it doesn't matter in any of those 3 positions. And there's another 1 or 2 scores on this board, and then it's looking different. I mean, a 31-10 is a different score. A 38-10 is a blowout.
Yep.
And it's 24-10. You're like, 2-score game. All right.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not gonna put Ole Miss up there with Texas in terms of talent on offense, but Ole Miss has shown us they can score. Kiffin can call some plays. And you only put up 7. You only put up 10. What was it? 10 points. I've gone brain dead. 10 points.
Yeah, 10. But you're right. 73, 37, and 48 was their 3 scores coming into this game.
10 points. But again, and something very weird about that. And maybe this is the game that Bama kind of galvanizes them a little bit. They didn't go out and blow it. They kind of had to wrestle it away. And in the end, they did win. But maybe this is a game that they get back on track. And I don't think they necessarily go undefeated from here on out. But I think you look back on this game, if they are 11-1, you say, okay, that's the game they found it. They found their identity. The defense is good. Milroe is just good enough to grind out some wins.
Yeah.
But it was a good game. I liked it.
They were not. It didn't seem like they could just impose their will.
No.
But it almost felt like they could just squeeze enough to make sure that they got done what they needed to get done. Like, Ole Miss did not have to change their game. it was 7-6 at halftime. Ole Miss was up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't go conservative, and they didn't just have to go to nothing but throwing the ball in order to catch up, because I think like Ole Miss, they only scored like twice at 11. Yeah, they went for 2. They had 8 and a field goal. So 1 touchdown, 1 field goal in the third quarter. And then just scored. Yeah, so it was 21-10 at the end of the third. It was not like Ole Miss couldn't continue to mix it up on offense.
Bama ran the ball 45 times for 131 yards for 2.9 average.
But that's what I mean.
Man,
is
just
they was, you know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is they weren't going to run away with it, but they just did enough to squeeze Ole Miss. So 2.9, that's a first down every time if they were to just keep doing that. You know, just run it 4 times. Not that they were, but yeah, exactly. Frustrating.
Now their lead running back had McClellan, 17 carries, 105 yards. So good, and a TD. So good day for him. But I think that was kind of a gut check moment for Alabama. And again, we'll see how it plays out with LSU, because LSU does not look good. Maybe A&M is the best team in the West. Maybe, but I have
to give comment on the LSU thing. I said it going in, it's like Arkansas is Arkansas, and every year Arkansas seems to almost beat LSU. It feels to me anyway.
Yeah.
And there they were doing it again. I was like, this is what they do. This is what it seems like they do. And it's usually right before they play A&M, and then they'll come and play A&M, and it's like they're burned out. Like they just did everything they possibly could to get sold short. And I mean, I do not want to jinx it, obviously, but I was not surprised to see that game by Arkansas. And I didn't think LSU looked that bad. Like, what was our total score?
34-31.
Right. They're scoring points. You would not take a team and say, hey, if you score 34 points every single game, how you feel? Like, I feel pretty darn good. It's just that Arkansas got points, and Arkansas doesn't get points on anybody. And I really don't expect LSU defense to just be bad.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. Like, what was their last couple games? Like BYU, they put up 31 a loss. Yeah, I mean,
thank you. Arkansas is losing to BYU, that goes and loses in Lawrence.
Yeah.
But LSU 41-14 on Mississippi State, 72-10 on Grambling, but 45-24 on Florida State. I don't know. I mean, I guess the big question out of those scores is how awful is Mississippi State? Because maybe LSU's defense isn't that good.
It's not looking like it is to me. I mean, certainly. It's not looking like to me like they are very good, because that game shouldn't have been close. And there was a reason that game was 17-point spread. And maybe Archie just came to play. It was like, hey, this is just our last stand. We lost. We don't like this team. It's a rivalry game.
Jaden Daniels, 20 of 29, 320 yards, 4 TDs in 1 INT with a QBR of 85.4. Like, not an awful day.
Man, okay, so let's like looking forward to next week. So I'm already looking at the over/under for Arkansas A&M. 55.5 is Wedwin going to play?
I haven't seen what his injury was. I saw him limp off the field.
Yeah.
We could get into that.
Auburn's not good. That quarterback is
not good.
That quarterback is not good at all.
No. I'm not sitting here going, what an amazing win. He's bad. And then they put in their backup, and he is worse. He was not going to hit a broadside of a barn, and their only touchdown is that one random. I don't know if you saw it. It was like a pick six, but it deflected twice and landed in somebody's hand, and he's just wide open to down the field. And that was a pick by, technically a pick by Max Johnson, who really came in as a backup quarterback. I think anybody'd be really happy. He came in and threw some dimes and played very well. So happy to have him as the backup. But,
well, again, Auburn's not very good.
No.
They aside from Vandy, like I think they may actually be worse than Mississippi State, honestly. But
we'll get a chance to see, won't we?
But I do think, I mean, that one play that A&M had, that it was where the scoop and score that got called back.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can make an argument this game was a lot farther away than 17 points.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
But
sure, yeah. Wegman stays in the game. That doesn't get called back. There was zero stress in this. Like, you watched it and it was like, that team's really bad. That team is sort of playing around with them.
Kind of like the Texas Baylor game. It just like you kind of came in and you weren't worried, except for like history thing but when they kicked off, you're like, okay, like this is clearly we're the better team. Like this, like we're fine. And you just did what you wanted to do. I thought Texas kind of left some on the field too against Baylor. Obviously, A&M kind of left some out there with Wegman, and then that takes scoop and score getting called back. So yeah, both teams got a lot better, I think, test this coming week.
I think it was a good showing. It's probably a good development game. You got the SEC win out of the way, so 1-0, you take that. As long as Wegman's good, I'm happy. The things that I saw that I enjoyed was backup quarterback play, and then the running backs played much better. And again, that is against an SEC West team, but I felt like the running backs were producing some yards and some scores.
Yeah, and just from what it seemed, if there's a strength in that Auburn team, it definitely seems like it's on the defensive side. They're just not going to be able to score.
Yep. And
that defense did seem they didn't seem great, but they seemed kind of adequate. So so for A&M to kind of, because that was my big concern, that is that A&M can't run the ball when they need to.
So, running for 209 yards. Actually only passed for 193. So there you go.
But how much of that was Wegman going out? When did he go out?
He went out in the second quarter. He did not come back for that. Yeah. He was 8 for 14 for 70 yards at that point. Okay. So pretty early on. Max Johnson, again, didn't overthrow, but he was 7 for 11. He had a QBR of 96, 2 touchdowns, 123. But then that's where they just let the running backs do the work. And that would have been Auburn's opportunity to shut it down if they could. They just couldn't. And that's what I'm saying is, great. The running backs, we had Le'Veon Moss has 97 yards. Amari Daniels has 85 yards. One guy had 79-yard run. So, yeah, I'm excited. What's the line? 7 right now still going in?
I saw it for the Arkansas game. I saw it in 6.5.
Okay, well, I think it's up to 7. And the money was pouring in on A&M right at the game because, like, I think the day before it was like 8 and it closed at 10.
It moved. I saw that. Yeah, so, that came really hard and fast.
Yeah, so at least they covered.
Again, I think this is another good week, a good example overall in putting a bow on it, that there's no elite teams. There's looking at the rankings, there's 11 teams.
Yeah.
Probably 12 that could win national title this year. Because USC looked human. Georgia, right. I really wonder what Georgia's waiting on. We'll find out Penn State. The best team in the country seems to be Washington, honestly. They
imposed will. Yeah, that wasn't even close.
They may be that wagon you look up at the end of the year, and they're like 10-1 against the spread. They are clicking, and maybe they're clicking too early, but because I know they've got Oregon. Yeah, they got Arizona, and then Oregon this coming week, the next week. So
I will expect Georgia to do what Georgia does, but I'm also going to expect Michigan to get better. Michigan, I feel like, has done this the past couple of years, and then they end up pretty darn good. And there's really no reason that they shouldn't be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Right? They've still have the dual quarterbacks, Cohen and forget the last name. Is it JJ McCarthy?
Well, McCarthy's a quarterback, but yeah, I know who you're talking. Yeah.
And Harbaugh's not been there, so now he's back. I kind of feel like, all right, guys, game 5, I'm waiting for this, or week 4, I'm back. I'm waiting for this now. Full steam ahead. What do you really need to do against Rutgers? 31-7, I guess is fine, but I don't know if they'll be elite. I just expect them to be. I'm not going to be surprised if they beat Ohio State by 3 scores again.
No, probably
that
not.
Game's in Ann Arbor this year too.
Yeah, I think it's kind of very similar. I feel Texas a little bit, like just looking at the box score again. 2 turnovers.
Mm.
You ran the ball for 175. Great. You're still 30% on third down, and that's got to get better. I'm not sure why we can't have better third down play calling or execution, whatever. But yeah, you're overmatching teams, but you're not necessarily just going just mauling
annihilating them
50-3. Yeah. So again, it's every week. It just seems like it's just kind of set up more and more for kind of just some late season chaos that just is going to we'll have to spend 2 hours an episode.
Well, I mean, 38-6 on a rival while you're doing your exit tour. That's not shabby. I mean, that is not anywhere close to they put up a good fight. Baylor, that is. Like, you embarrassed them. And Aranda's probably feeling some heat at this point because Baylor needed that to be a close game to at least feel okay about it. And they are feeling like 2006 Baylor right now.
Well, I think we talked about how bad the Auburn quarterback is. I mean, that Sean Robertson they got at Baylor is worse. I mean, he is not good. So 38-6 with their main starter Shapen or whatever his name is coming would have been a lot. Like, I'd be feeling a lot better about that one. But again, it's again. I'll take 38-6 a night game in the Big 12 away. I'll take that and run all day
in the toilet bowl. I drove by that stadium. Yesterday because we came down from Fort Worth. So I went through College Station, Waco, and Fort Worth all Friday night. I was like, they were, lights were coming on, getting ready for big games the following day. Well, we were driving back yesterday, and my kids see McLean Stadium, and they're like, "Whoa, that's so big!" And I'm like, "Give it 1 hour, I'll show you big." So you darn right, I veered into College Station. I'm like, "Look at that!"
Taking a detour.
Yeah. Like, what do you think about that monstrosity? Like, that's huge. Yeah. Didn't know men could build such things.
No, I'm happy for it. Again, you did what you had to do. You cover. Good teams win. Great teams cover. They covered. Now it's on to Kansas and playing a much better team in Kansas. So I think, and also I don't think they'll look ahead to OU, but there's always that possibility.
Are you going to Lawrence or are they coming to Austin?
No, it's in Austin.
Okay.
It's a 2:30 kick. So.
Well, you have been shocked there before, so I guess be careful.
Gosh, there's just so much anxiety about that.
Yeah, and wasn't that sort of a similar scenario? It was right before the Red River shootout, and you would have said it was a look forward game, or is that toward the end of the season?
2 years ago, it was towards the end of the season. I want to say the one against Kansas that got Charlie Strong fired. I want to say that was more towards the end of the season too. But no, Kansas is coming in. Like I think again, I've already hit Kansas 17, just kind of emotional hedge in a way. But also, I think the over's in play too. I think both teams can really score. So, and then I think let's again, great week of football, and it's really fun to see what it's coming into as it's rounding into form in the middle of the season with all these, again, 12 teams that can win the title. So pretty fun.
Yep. I mean, just looking at some other scores, yeah, Washington dominant. I don't think if you're scoring 59, who cares if you let Cal score 32 on you because you probably pulled some starters. And then North Carolina, again, putting up 41 points.
Yep.
On Pitt. No, we don't think Pitt's great, but their last several scores, 31-40, 31-41. I think Drake May is legit, and who knows how the ACC could be very interesting. It'll be very interesting seeing what Duke Notre Dame looks like. How good is Duke? They're 17. I think that's their ranking. I mean, that's an intriguing statistic. Let's see, they're 18 right now, or they were 18 last week, so they're 17 against 11. So Notre Dame only dropped 2.
I guess in a weird way, there are not many head scratchers this week.
No.
Oklahoma winning by 14, but again, that was the spread, so not much. And then maybe USC only winning by 14
on Arizona State.
Yeah, at Arizona State. I mean I think that was like a 28-point spread, so maybe that's a little head scratcher. But
yeah, because that's just bringing up the conversation again. Great, one hand you scored 42 points on the road. The other hand, how good can you be if your defense is going to let Arizona State put 28 up on you?
Maybe you throw USC in that Georgia-Michigan category where we're not going to really know how good they are for another couple of weeks.
USC this upcoming week is playing Colorado. I do expect that what is happening inside of some of the locker rooms like Oregon, USC, Utah is going to be when we play them, we're going to let the media know that it's all cute until you play us. And I don't think we'll see a lot of grace from USC on Colorado. And I think Colorado is going to get the brunt of that.
Currently 21.5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of that. And I kind of feel like whatever that energy was, that put a watch on it, that it's personal, this whole sort of thing that you filled kids up with, the win can come out of those sails.
Yeah, no, I think stylistically USC may be actually a better matchup for Colorado. Not being as dominant in the trenches, say, as Oregon, but I mean, you still have Caleb Williams back there. Yep. Caleb Williams is a better Bo Nix. So
the coaches poll. The coaches poll only shows in the AP. They only show to 25, right? You don't have the extended rankings.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just curious where Colorado's actually sitting now.
They're not.
I know. I mean, if any team took the biggest drop, it's Colorado. They took the biggest jump and they took the biggest hit this year.
They're still getting votes, it looks like, but they're not. It's not like they're number 26. Yeah. So
A&M getting votes?
Not a lot.
I know we were there. The conversation was, will they be ranked after this game? I said, absolutely not. If they keep winning, as soon as Miami beats a ranked team, then yes. And that goes back to the loss where I was like, yes, it's a loss. All I can actually hope for. It's not a bad loss. If Miami ends up being a good team, I needed them to be middle of the pack. They're already at 18, 17. If at the end of the season you have a undefeated in the SEC or even a one loss, this is more about not about winning the SEC or the playoffs. It's the coaching and the Jimbo's era.
Well,
if he loses,
go ahead.
I'm just saying. Let's say he loses to Alabama and LSU and Miami is at like 12 for the year. I still think you look at that and go, really sucks that we're not better than Alabama and LSU yet. We have beat them within the past couple of years, each of them. But this is not a debacle. And again, that would still be a 9-3 season, the Lions 8.5. But you cannot drop games. Like, we can't go lose to Ole Miss. Put it that way. After that, you can't lose to Ole Miss.
that's probably where the massive 75 million buyout really helps you because I mean 9-3 some spots will get you fired.
9 and
Some
3,
spots will
yeah,
get you fired.
9
But-
and 3. If he didn't have that massive contract and that buyout, and he's doing 9 and 3 at A&M, and other coaches become available, I think you might see him exit.
Yeah,
I mean, Mike Sherman was hitting 8 and 4, 9 and 3s. He just wasn't. Everyone knew it's like that's not it.
yeah,
This and the sleepy grandpa is not it.
yeah.
We need a swag copter.
It's definitely a nice shield to have.
So, all I'm saying is I'm glad Miami is still rolling, and
they've got looks like October 14th at North Carolina. That will be it. That will be it where we find out.
That will be wow.
Yep.
That's really
great week. A lot of great stuff happening. Yeah, it's fun. It's I think it's the most fun it's been in a while actually.
Yeah, I like that it doesn't feel like it's 3 teams and everybody else.
For sure.
Because you can pay attention to everything.
Yep.
All right, so we'll do a preview show on Thursday.
We'll come back in a couple days and look at the week. Yeah, I like that.
FYI, I know, just to stay on Miami, Georgia Tech is coming to Miami, and sure, it's home. Georgia Tech's not Georgia Tech of last year. They got those transfers in. I know they're 2-2. It was not a super close game to Ole Miss, I suppose, but it was close to Louisville, and they put up 30-16 on Wake Forest.
Look at Hayes King, 11-2 TD to interception ratio. Look at him go.
Last year it was the opposite. It's 2-11. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, see what the over is on that game. That could be a really enticing over.
Yeah, Miami's still an 88% favorite to win according to analytics, but it won't be. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be
like a 12, 13-point spread. It comes out.
Yeah, we'll see.
It hasn't already.
Very good.
All right, that was fun, guys.
Okay, see you in a few days.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.